Mandy, thank you so much for being here today and inviting me into your home and your beautiful backyard. I love it back here. It's so nice. When I look at you, I see strength and positivity. I see a joy that just exudes from inside you. And it made me want to sit with you and learn a little bit more. I know you went through a huge storm, an accident, and I was hoping that you would share with me today what happened.
So I had a car accident, and that was 17 years ago. So it was a big shock for our family. We weren't expecting it. And I was telling you earlier that I had a cup of tea and a piece of lemon cake and kind of walked out of the house and then didn't come back for a whole year. And my husband in particular was really used to me doing all our shopping and looking after the kids and taking care of everything. And then suddenly that was no more, and I was in hospital, and I actually broke my C6, C7, my spinal cord injury. So my arms work, but my hands and my legs don't work.
Okay.
And that took a toll on our family, because suddenly my husband went to doing everything for our kids and our family and trying to work and look after me and visit us in hospital. And so it was really hard, and it just wasn't expected.
Were you in the car alone?
No, Kirsten, my daughter, was with me, and luckily my son had decided not to come with us that day, so a bus hit me behind the driver's door.
Okay.
And that day I'd actually changed the kids around, and Kirsten actually had ended up sitting in a different place so that she didn't sit where the bus hit. So luckily she, was alive. Otherwise, it might have been a different outcome.
So she was sitting in the front seat that day, so
Yes.
It's almost like God protected her, had her in a place where...
Yeah, the only thing she remembers of the whole accident was this white light, and she just feels that, that she was just like in this little white light and was safe, and the best thing I ever heard was her crying afterwards, so that I knew she was alive.
Yeah, you knew she was okay?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's amazing. So where were you going? Like, were you just going to the store, or?
So a friend had called me, and I was actually going to an embroidery class, and I wasn't really planning on going that way, but and I had to get gas, so I was actually turning right into a garage, and this bus was going a little bit too fast and hit me behind my garage door, and within a few seconds my whole life had changed.
Oh my gosh. So you have a little bit of an accent. Where are you from?
So our family come from Zimbabwe in Africa.
Okay.
And we decided to move because things were changing up in Africa, and we really wanted a place for our kids to grow up where they have the opportunity and safety, just to grow up and have a nice childhood.
Oh, that's nice. So when did you come to America?
So we came here in 2003.
Okay.
So it was a big move for our family, because in Africa we were very much used to having a little bit more home help. So when we came here, it was a little bit more difficult. There was less sort of extra pairs of hands, and with me not being able to do a lot, it meant that it was kind of hard for my husband Roland. He had to do a lot more, and the kids we all had to work together as a team, and help. Our daughter helped to run our house. She was only 10, and so she actually did all the cooking.
Oh, wow.
We kind of started off with noodles, and as she learned more and more, she got better and better at doing different dishes.
So they had to grow up a little quicker than...
They grew up, but they still had a childhood, but we did a lot of things together as a family. It was our choice. We talk about maybe the vacations we took together and things that they wanted to do, maybe going to the beach, and we would do different things together as a family. But it brought us together because we had to do things together. We needed them, and they needed us, and they grew up with us together doing things, but we did it all together, rather than me going off driving by myself and taking them to, sports, and Roland doing his own thing. We did everything together.
Do you think that grew you closer as a family?
It definitely bonded us as a family.
Yeah.
Because I think the kids didn't really have chores. They were really needed, so this mom didn't take the washing out of the washing machine. They knew that if they didn't do it, it didn't happen. So they really had to help each other, and it really helped. And in the beginning, when they were really little, to move me, they would pick me up, together. Like one would hold my knees, and the other would hold under my arms, and then we'd kind of swing me over, and that's how they would move me when they were little.
Mandy, you're such a positive person with a giving heart. and it seems to me that you've always been this way. After the accident, what were your immediate thoughts?
So it was really hard. I think my immediate thoughts really come back from lying in hospital, kind of looking up at the ceiling, wondering, how am I going to make it through this? You know, this is difficult. This is not easy. So I think my immediate thoughts were, I just don't think I can do this. You know, it's really hard, and I can't imagine being trapped in a body that isn't going to move for the next 10 years. That's really hard to imagine. So I think I started to learn to just do a little bit at a time, like break it up into little chunks, manageable pieces.
And so when you woke up in the hospital, did they tell you right away what was wrong?
No, they were really good about that. And I think that's something people should know, is never take that hope away from people. I think my neurosurgeon was amazing. He said, you know, you just don't know what the body's going to do.
Exactly.
So I think people always need that hope, because when you're lying there and you think everything's a mess, it's always nice to have that hope that maybe something will heal or will change, or you know, you can maybe get better.
Because you never know. There's times people will say, well, the doctor said they only, like with my mom, for example,
And that
they
can
said
be devastating.
it's devastating. They said your mom has 6 months. Well, now you've told the person that. Now they think, well, I have
That's
no
in
hope.
the back of their mind. And so you really need that hope. So I think that's something I'd like everybody to know. Just keep that hope alive, because you really don't know what the body's going to do.
Exactly. And you never know. Now there's so many miracles that happen still, and the doctors can't explain it.
No.
But if you give up hope, it's not going to happen.
Yes, you need that hope.
Exactly. Mandy, where did you find strength after the accident?
So Michelle, I don't know if it's strength. People think of people as being strong, but I'm not sure if it's really strength. More maybe courage, or a choice to show up in the day. You know, it's people say to myself and Roland, oh, it's really easy for you guys. It's like, wow, I'm glad you think that, you know. So it's like, I don't know if it's strength so much as courage, where you make a choice just to get up every day, put a smile on your face, sometimes fool myself to go, okay, you know, I can make it through today, because you know, maybe everybody has pain and different things. People have different struggles, and I think for everybody it's really just a choice to make it through the day, and the courage to just get up, show up, and you know, be there in the day and go forward.
It's true, because you have a choice every day when you wake up. You can be positive, right,
you
and
can
find
put a
joy.
smile on your face. And I think sometimes if you put a smile on your face, maybe what you give out is what you get back. You know, so you know, if you wake up and you're happy, then you get joy back. If you wake up and you give out really bad vibes and you're a little grumpy, you know, maybe snap at someone and maybe that's what you get back. You know? So it does make a big difference.
It makes a huge difference. I totally agree with you on that. Have you ever gone through a period of loss or a feeling of loss after the accident?
So I think a feeling of loss for me would be maybe not to be able to do some of the things that I used to be able to do. You know, I do miss driving and going and buying bread and milk. You know, it's an everyday thing that you think, oh wow. And it's the everyday things that you think you get tired of when you're a normal person and you're doing them every day. But suddenly when that gets taken away from you, the freedom just to jump in a car and go and buy bread and milk it's actually quite a big deal.
It is. It's the little things we take for granted.
The little things that we take for granted. You know, time, picking up your children and hugging them and doing different things that you do every day, and you don't realize how much you miss some of the things. You know, one of the silly things I miss is wearing high heel shoes, you know.
Oh.
It's a little thing, but you know, it's just one of those small things that, you know, you enjoy, and yeah, that's one of those little things.
Thanks for sharing that. When you feel like that, or there's days like that, what keeps you going to persevere personally?
My family are amazing. You know, I couldn't do this without my husband. He's always helps me, gives me strength, I guess, to go forward. He's there for me and my family, the kids. I see them growing up, and I'm so lucky to have had the gift to have been part of their lives. You know, I could have not been part of their lives. So for me, that's really big. You know, the fact that I'm able to be part of everything that they do and go forward and see them growing up.
It's so important. Even for me, going through breast cancer, having Aaron be that strong support for me and the boys, just them coming up and giving hugs and, you know what I mean, saying they love me.
You're part of their lives, And people are amazing. You know, people will sometimes say that Roland and I inspire them, and we don't really see it, but they'll come to us weeks afterwards and say, hey, I was going through something really difficult and I visited with you both and you guys helped us see that maybe we could do this.
And that's so important when you go through something like that, any kind of storm, when you can help other people just by being you. That's a huge thing.
And it's wonderful sometimes that people do come back to you and tell you that, because that actually gives you a little bit of feelings of self-worth where, wow, I actually am making a difference.
You are. I can tell you for sure you're making a difference. I know even just watching you, there's hard days and then, you look at somebody and you're like, what am I complaining about? It's those little things. Why am I complaining about going to pick up the boys or going to get groceries when I can go?
If you look around, there's always somebody who's not doing as well as you. And you can always find strength in that.
Yeah, I agree. I would love to know from someone like you. I consider you like a Wonder Woman, like a woman of strength. I do. What does strength look like to you?
So strength for me, it can be hard sometimes in a day when I wake up and sometimes Ron and I have had a bad night and it's a long night and we've got a full day's work. So sometimes strength for me is getting up and showing up at the office and working a full day and then being there for my family. Sometimes I'm tired and then my kids need us, my husband needs me. So it's really great sometimes to just find that little bit extra sometimes, just to be there for people when I think that I'm tired and maybe I'm feeling a little bit of pain, and to put that aside and to actually just be cheerful and carry on with what I'm doing and carry on with the day and just do it minute by minute until I can feel that I've actually made it through the day.
Yeah, I get that. There's times that, especially if you're having a really hard day or a struggle, that you have to find something positive to focus on in that minute just to get through that minute.
Keep really busy so that you don't think about what's going on. And then you make it through that hour, and without realizing it, you've actually made it through a whole day or a whole week. Or now I've actually done 17 years being paralyzed in a wheelchair. But if you asked me that in the hospital, I could never have imagined doing 17 years.
Right, but you're just taking one day at a time, sometimes 1 minute at a time.
Yeah, when it's really, really hard, maybe just 1 minute at a time, because you can't think about doing the whole hour.
Yeah, I totally get that. What is something or some things that people have done for you or that they do for you that have helped you while you're going through the darkest of your storm or the hardest part of after the accident?
People are incredible, and all the way through, lots of people have done different things. My husband has been the most amazing encouragement in our family. But there are little people along the way, like, for example, Roland and I were out, we were having lunch on a beach patio, covered patio, and the storm blew through and it got really chilly, and Roland does this awesome thing where he rubs his hands together and puts it on my face just to warm me up.
Oh.
And we didn't really realize it, but somebody must have been watching, and because it was cold, he went to put me in the truck, and when he came back to pay for our lunch, someone had paid for it.
Aww.
And it's the small things like that that make us realize that somebody's watched us and maybe been inspired by what we were just going through and actually did something really unexpected. And then I've had people just say things along the way, just say, wow, we were looking at you and you've really inspired us for the day. And it makes a big difference.
Is there anything that your kids do?
Our kids, they are amazing, but I think the best thing ever is if they come up to us and give me a really genuine hug. And to me, that's incredible, because it means that there's love in our house. And I think love is the most amazing thing, and I'm just so lucky to have actually been around to experience that and to give it back to them, because I think if they feel love, they're going to grow up to be really awesome young people.
Yeah, there's nothing that makes me happier in the hardest of days is when one of my boys comes up and gives me a
really genuine squeeze, not like, hey, can you come and give me a hug, but when it's actually really natural and they've done it and it's a real feeling of love,
Yes, I totally understand that. On the flip side, is there something that people have done or they do that was not helpful, even though they had the best intentions?
So I think sometimes people, like, just say in the grocery, if I'm buying groceries in the supermarket, people whose kids come along and want to know, hey, what happened to you? So mums will sometimes shh their kids and say, don't ask questions. And I think it's really important that those kids are allowed to ask questions because, they're curious and it's an innocent question. And for me, it's a great opportunity to tell them, I wasn't wearing my seatbelt.
You weren't wearing your seatbelt.
I wasn't wearing my seatbelt. And it's really important that kids know that they need to wear their seatbelt. And it's a great teaching opportunity for somebody like me, that I had a car accident, and to tell them that I didn't wear my seatbelt. And maybe if they did wear their seatbelt, then they wouldn't be in my position.
That's great.
And for them to learn.
It's great to be able to use that as a teaching tool for kids or other people. And it's important. There's lots of people that will see somebody who looks different, either in a wheelchair or after surgery or walking strange. And kids naturally want to come up and ask questions. That's their natural curiosity. But as adults, because we feel awkward about it, we don't want to talk to them because they seem different. But same for me. After surgeries, I would have loved for people to ask me questions instead of just sort of saying things where I could hear them within earshot and then walk away. It made me feel very uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable. It can be really awkward. And I think it's much nicer if kids are just allowed to ask their questions, have their curiosity, their questions answered, and just be open.
Because if somebody came up to you and they said, you don't have to answer, but may I ask you a question?
Yes.
Wouldn't you be open to?
I would be open to them having a conversation with me about what happened.
Exactly. Thank you. That's so helpful. I know that'll help lots of people because there's...
don't hold back.
Yeah, don't hold back. Let's go ahead. People feel like they shouldn't ask questions, but it's so important that they do ask questions that we invite it, right? We invite the questions and want to be able to share.
I think it's a fantastic opportunity to share.
Mandy, everyone who sees you smiling all the time, very positive. I know I've said that a few times, but you are. You just, whenever I see you, you're a beacon light. You're very happy and positive. I see you as someone that doesn't take life for granted, which is super important. And you show that happiness is a choice. It is, and we all have the choice whether or not we want to be happy. And you have a very positive attitude, which again is a choice. I see that you make choices every single day in your life to make it good. I see that you work full time, when I walk into the shop and I see everything you're doing, it blows my mind. And I don't think people even understand what you do in a day. And I was wondering if I could ask you to give me a little glimpse into what an average weekday looks like for you.
So for us, we get up early because my husband has to shower me and himself. So we're up early, and then we always try and have a good breakfast. I feel that kind of sets you up for the day. And then here in America, we've got to get stuff done, like the washing and all that. So we've got to get all that done, and then we go to the office. And it's a full day at the office. We're there from, just after 8 through to sometimes 7:30 at night. And during the day, we're busy. People are coming in and out, doing accounts, we're typing. So
when you say the office, it's your business, correct? What's your business?
My husband and I own a computer business. And
what's it called?
It's Impress Computers. And we, answer phones, people are coming in and out. It's a full day. And there's a lot that goes on. And every day, we actually work 6 days a week.
Oh,
we're there,
that's a lot.
Yeah, we're open on Saturdays. So we're there 6 days a week, and it's a full-time job.
So I'm just going to say, she says that she does other little things, but when you go in there, she is answering the phones, typing up emails, replying to clients. You do a lot. You don't just go in there and delegate. You're hands-on working.
Actually, it's quite funny because people see me typing, but my fingers don't work. So I actually have a finger splint that's on my finger just to help me keep my finger straight. And I actually had to relearn to type because I used to be able to type with all my fingers at 60 words a minute or whatever. And then when I had my car accident, I had to learn where all the keys were again because I had to go back to typing with just one finger.
Oh my gosh. So that's what you do, right? You type with one finger, everything. It's amazing. See, so you've made a choice. Your choice is, I'm going to enjoy life, I'm going to make the most of it, and nothing has stopped you.
Yeah, and I think being busy really takes your mind off lots of things. So I think, rather than being depressed, I'd rather be busy.
Out of curiosity, is there a favorite hobby that you have?
Love to garden.
Love to garden?
Yeah, except the only thing is now my son digs the holes and my husband plants everything. and I get to watch it grow.
That's good. Now, is it you that likes racing or is it your husband?
Roland loves to race.
Okay.
But over the years, I've got kind of weaved into everything and watched the drivers. And after many years, you got involved with everybody. So we do watch Formula One racing.
That's okay. See, that's awesome. Is there one thing, a takeaway that you'd like to share with anybody watching?
I think life is all about making a choice. You really have to make a choice to get up every day and go out. And I think it's important what you give out to people, and to, I think, just be kind to everybody, because I think if people see that, maybe more of that in the world, you know, because I do believe that what you give to one person, they pass on to another.
Yeah.
You know, so like the person who paid for our lunch that day, yeah, Roland and I will do something special for somebody else, and maybe if they pass that on, then it just makes a big difference in this world.
Passing it forward, super
Yes.
important.
I think so.
I love that. I'm sure lots of people will get a lot out of that. You are an inspiration, and you're very
Thank you.
positive, and you embody a lot of characteristics that, you know, that I look up to. It's so important to be positive no matter what you're going through, and choosing to be happy and choosing joy. And we have that choice, and you show that in everything that you do, the way you treat people, the way you talk to people. And I know that things aren't always easy. You know, there's struggles in every single day.
Everybody has struggles, different struggles. And you don't always see the struggles that are inside people.
But you're taking those struggles and still choosing happiness each day, and that's important for people to see, that no matter what storm you're going through, you can get through it, right?
Yes. Just an inch at a time.
Yeah, an inch at a time.
Minute by minute.
Welcome back to Strengthen Your Storm. We are joined by Roland Parker, Mandy's husband. Welcome, Roland.
Hi, Michelle.
I actually had a few questions for you too, if that's okay.
Sure, no problem.
I was wondering, where did you find your strength after Mandy had the accident?
Well, I guess for me, it was pretty much of a shock. You know, one minute you think your life is perfect, and then next minute, everything's upside down. So I guess I spent a lot of time praying, just asking for strength to how do I adjust? How do I be there for Mandy? How do I become the husband and father to my children? And when everything is turned upside down, because it wasn't only just Mandy having an accident. While she was in hospital was when the violence in Zimbabwe erupted. So we were dealing with the country going up in flames basically while Mandy was still in hospital, and then we had the whole upheaval of having to move and find somewhere to live, and we found Katy, Texas, and you know, we just said threw caution to the wind, and you know, did it and we arrived here, and there were many times when I wasn't sure what was going to happen and how I was going to find the strength. And that's prayer is one of the biggest things, where you just down on your knees, and there's been times when you're not sure how you're going to get that strength, and that's I guess where God comes in and really calms you down and just says you can do it.
At the time of the accident, were you working full time? So did that change your work at all?
It did. So we had the same Impress computers back in Zimbabwe.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. And Mandy was also working at the company, and all of a sudden, that day we were actually meant to be doing a radio show that we did every week, and that threw out the window, and I was spending a lot more time then in the hospital. Mandy, for the first 3 months, couldn't move at all. She was flat on her back. So we had to kind of move things around, and I guess we had the difficulties of Mandy being in hospital, things happening in the economy, and the kids. Mandy first saw the kids and was like, "Craig, you haven't washed your hair in 3 months." It's like, you went from blonde to red, what happened?
Just like a bum.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. As a man seeing your wife after the accident, is there ever a time that you've gone through a period of loss or a feeling of loss?
Well, I guess things are always going to be different, and you have to make changes towards that. And I guess the biggest thing that I thought is that I am never going to give up. I'm never going to change, and we're going to make this through together. So when Mandy was having her hard times, I knew that I had to be there as her rock to say, no, we're not giving up. Things are tough now, but you know what? We're going to do this. And I'm here for the long haul. No matter what happens, I have to be there for my wife, for my kids.
There's nothing more powerful than that. I know that after my surgeries, everything that I went through, I needed Aaron to be that rock, and he was an amazing rock, and without him, I know that it wouldn't have been as easy. Not that it was easy, but it would not have gone as smoothly as it did, or I wouldn't have felt that strength that I really needed. I mean, we would pray together, but having him by my side telling me we can get through it, we can do anything, that means the world, right? Having that strength from your spouse. That's huge. What keeps you going to persevere each day?
Well, in so many ways, I feel so blessed that I was able to share every day for me is a blessing with Mandy. And she inspires me all the time, where, I see so many people these days coming in to the store complaining about their lives, and it's like, wow, you don't know how lucky you are. And I just really feel blessed that I've been able to spend that time with Mandy, and I know that I want to be there for her every day.
I love that. Such to me is exactly the epitome of marriage, for better, for worse, that you just love them.
And for us, we are together 24/7. We run the business together.
Right.
We're at home together. There's generally never a time where we're actually separated. So some people find it difficult to work together, but we're actually together 24/7. So there's always going to be some times where there's a little bit of friction.
Yeah.
But I think the end goal should always be, no, we're here for the long haul. No matter what happens, we're here together. No matter what life throws at us, we're going to take it head on, and we are going to make it to the end.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. What gives you such a positive outlook on life?
I'm not sure. I think I've always been a positive person.
Yeah.
And I think having Mandy beside me as being more of a positive person always makes a difference. And there's times when we bolster each other. So and I think that's it. You do have to make a concerted effort to every day. Some people think that it just comes more naturally, but I think you've actually got to make that conscious decision. Yes, things are tough, but you know what? There's always that light at the end of the tunnel. There's always a silver lining. Let's just get through this hard time. And there's times in the office where things go wrong, and we have to deal with it and just carry on and pretend that nothing's happened. And it's not always easy.
No.
There are times when it's tough. There are those times when you actually think, wow, this feels like it's more than we can handle. But if you pray, if you have faith that you know you're going to get through it, then you can take it. And sometimes, as Mandy said, you've got to live life by the minute. And when she's going through that hard time, that's when I've got to step in and say, you know what, we can do this. I'm not giving up. We're not going to let go. We're going to take this through to the end. We're here together.
And I'm always reminded too, if God brings you to it, He'll bring you through it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I believe in that. Welcome back to Strengthen Your Storm. We're back here with Roland and Mandy. Roland, I just had a couple other questions for you.
Sure.
What is something or some things people have done to encourage you?
Well, I think sometimes when people make the effort to actually speak to me and say, wow, you guys really inspired me. We had a guy who had a stroke, and he was one of our customers. And he was like, wow, I was going through a really tough time. It was a really hard day. And I spoke to you guys, and suddenly you gave me encouragement to carry on. And we don't see it. We're living with stuff every day. When Mandy was in hospital 2.5 years ago, she couldn't breathe. She had the mask over her, and we were in the ER. And my daughter arrived. My son was there, and we ended up having this family selfie, and it's like, oh, here we are in the ER, and laughing about it. And the nurse came to us and said, wow, you guys, your family just inspired me today. And we didn't think anything of it. But when people do see that and come to us, that really gives us encouragement to, yes, we are making a difference. This is worth it.
Okay, so you like when people come up to you and share how you've inspired them or encouraged them, and that
Absolutely.
gives you more fuel to keep going. See, it's interesting. So does your family deal with hard struggles with laughter and joking
Yeah.
around, humor? Yeah,
So
we're
sometimes
the same way.
when you're going through a tough time, you know what? You just got to laugh about it.
You have to, right?
It's just,
If not, you'll go crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, that's good that you find the humor in it. I think that's so important to find the humor in everything. On the flip side of that, is there something that people have done or something that people do that is not so helpful, even though it may not be intended?
Well, I really think for us, you know, if people want to help, if they just go ahead and do things, whereas if they say, if there's anything you want, let me know. But generally as guys, we don't actually ask for help. So
Right.
I found, especially in the beginning when we were adjusting, the ladies who stepped up and just did things was amazing. Whereas the people who came to me and said, if you need anything, let me know. Well, nothing was ever going to come about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess the biggest thing is, you know, if you're just going through the grocery store and people might look and stare, it's a lot easier if they come up and just ask us questions.
So would you be comfortable if somebody came up to you in the grocery store and said, oh, do you mind if I ask what happened? That wouldn't bother you?
No, it wouldn't bother us at all. It's easier to talk about it than sometimes people just look at you a bit strange and, you know, go around because they're not sure how to react.
Yeah, that's really good. There's one thing I noticed. We were out at an event last week, and you guys had pulled up in the Impress Computers truck, and I didn't know you could see me through the window, but I was watching, and I watched you take her out of the truck and put her into her wheelchair, and then she waved at me. Mandy waved at me, and I was like, oh, you could see me. But I was watching, and it was, I was watching, and I felt like, it was almost like a joy, a compassion. It was a amazement of the you doing that for her, and it was like nothing. It was just like happiness doing it. It wasn't where you had a look on your face like it was a bother, like it was a burden. Her, you know what I mean? Having to do that for her, and you didn't know anybody was looking at you. I've watched you several times with her, and everything you do it with love and kindness, and that I'm sure helps her know that she's not any kind of burden, or that you do it because you enjoy doing it. I think that makes that's a big deal. And when people see how you treat her, how you treat each other, but how you treat her, it makes a big difference. People learning that they should have more compassion for their people.
Also, what I think happens sometimes, people give up on marriage too easily because they think that they're no longer in love with that person, or they're not compatible, or they're going through a tough time, or they think they're going to find more excitement by going to somebody else. But actually, you're going to get more contentment and more joy by saying, you know what, stick through this, and no matter what happens, never talk about separating. Always talk about, you know what, we're going to do this together. And too many people these days, normal, content people who shouldn't have any issues, are getting divorced for no reason. And the biggest thing that I can say out there, you know what, stick it out, make it work, no matter what life throws at you, no matter what deck of cards you get to deal with, make the most of it and find joy and happiness, and that have those little escapes together, you know, where we'll go down to the beach together, get a little bit of time away, go in, we like going to different musical shows and that type of thing, and just spending some time together and having that enjoyment and keeping the marriage alive, no matter, it's not always easy, but getting enjoyment out of life and never, ever, ever give up.
And making the effort. In any marriage, you have to make the effort.
You have to make the effort. My grandparents said, get up every morning and you make that effort every single day. And when you do that, you're going to be far more content than actually just throwing your marriage away and going on to something else.
And they were married long.
I'm just going to say that you guys both inspire me. Just watching you and how you treat her, and just I always see, whenever I see you, just the joy on your face is just, I love it. Just seeing you smile, and you just always have a joy that comes from within your heart, and I see it every time I look in your face. And I love it. I just wanted to thank you both for your time today, and for letting me into your house and into your beautiful backyard, and for sharing with me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Michelle.